Hey guys, it's Drummond. Welcome back to my channel. If you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you know whenever I post my next video. So today's video is talking about safety first. And no, this video is not about sex education or anything like that. So I wanted to make this video because I feel like I've seen a lot of things in the news about LGBT people being put in really dangerous situations, sometimes very harmful situations. I wanted to make this video because as a YouTuber and as a face of the LGBT community, I have had to adopt some safety precautions just because going out into the world and having my face kind of plastered with like the rainbow stuff everywhere, I've had to realize that I've been putting myself in a little bit more danger than just kind of going out and living my normal life. So I kind of wanted to talk about a few things that I do to take precautions to make sure that I don't put myself in any unsafe situations. So for me, I drive around with an equality sticker on the back of my car and a rainbow pride license plate cover on the front of my car. So I do kind of scream LGBT when I'm driving around. So one of the things that I do to make sure that my car is safe is I make sure that I park in a safe place. So whether that's out in the middle of a parking lot where people can see my car, or near a security camera when I can, or in a parking garage where I know there's security. Those are the types of places I make sure that I park my car, because I've heard so many stories from friends and other people from the LGBT community where someone smashed out their windows or someone scraped faggot across their car. And honestly, that's not something I ever want to walk out of a store and see happening to my car. Another thing that I try to do is making sure that I don't park anywhere really dark or anywhere where I'm going to have to be walking alone where people can't see me, just because there are people who have seen equality signs on my car and they followed me and honked their horns and stuck up their middle finger. I've even had someone stick something on my car with a threat calling me a faggot, and honestly, I realize that me putting the equality sticker on my car puts my car at risk, but honestly, in this area, being in rural America, I feel like having that equality sticker on my car is just kind of a little beacon of hope to other people that might be in the closet and feeling like they're really alone here in this rural part of America. So I refuse to take it down off my car. Just recently, my grandmother called me up to her house and asked if we could talk. And because of all the news that she's been seeing on social media and across all the different news platforms, she asked me if I could take it off just because she fears for my safety. And honestly, living here, I've honestly always kind of felt a little bit fearful having the equality sticker on my car. But once again, I feel like it's a beacon of hope for the LGBT community here in the area, and I refuse to take it off. Something else that you might want to practice is the buddy system. So when it comes to being part of the LGBT community, it sucks that we live in a time where it's not really safe to be as outgoing and flamboyant as you want to be and dressing in rainbow colors and all of that fun stuff. So when you go out to different places with your friends, make sure that you guys are paired off and you're never really walking anywhere alone, especially if you're drinking. I feel like that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize is when you're drunk, you might be a little bit more vulnerable. I know that I had an experience when I lived down in Florida, and this wasn't anyone who didn't like gay people. It was actually a situation where I was dealing with someone in the LGBT community who took advantage of me when I was drunk. And that was a really awkward situation for me to get in. At that time, I was actually not drinking. I actually had someone stick something in my cider that I was drinking. And I just kind of started getting really woozy, and someone was just like, oh, maybe you just need to lay down. And yeah, you just have to be careful. I put myself in the situation where I was at one party and then my friends didn't want to stay out any longer. So I stayed, and then I went to another party where I didn't know where I was. So I just got in a really bad situation, and I don't want anybody else to be put in a situation like that in the future because it's not fun. It's not a safe place to be. Something else that my friends and I started doing is sharing our location with each other. So when I went out with my friends on New Year's, we actually shared our locations with each other just because we know that sometimes when people are drinking and sometimes they meet somebody, they go different places. And we wanted to make sure that we knew where everyone was by the end of the night so that we could all get in my car and drive home safely. So that is definitely a good practice. If you've got the Find My Friends app on the iPhone, and then there's tons of other location apps that you can download on other devices, just to make sure that all your friends get home safely, just because no one wants to end the night with someone going to the hospital because they walked down a dark alley where someone might have found them and did something stupid. So something else that you might want to do is having a spot to meet up after something might happen. So I know most recently I was at the Pride Parade in DC, and granted nothing really happened when it came to shooting, but a lot of people got hurt. And when the crowd started pushing everyone, Meg kind of got pushed away. And in a situation like that, a lot of times everyone's trying to call everyone and you don't really have great cell phone service. So it's good to have like kind of a meeting point to where if something like that happens, you're like, okay, let's meet here. Honestly, it's just good to have a spot like that just because you never know if someone's going to break their phone or their phone battery dies. So another way to stay safe is just letting people know where you're at. So when I went up to Pride, I let my family know that I was going up there. So when that event happened at the parade, I called everyone and let them know that I was okay, that my friends were okay, that my phone was at 10%, and I was just letting everybody know that I was in good hands just because I didn't want my phone to die and everybody be freaking out. But it's always a safe bet to let your friends know where you're going so that if you don't show up, at least they knew where you were going. It doesn't necessarily mean that's where you stayed. That's where the Finding My Friends app stuff comes in handy. So another safety tip I can give you is planning your route. So I know when I was in DC a couple weekends ago for the Cherry Blossom Festival, I didn't really know where I was going. I was just kind of strolling around with my friend and I didn't really make a plan of where we were headed. We were just like, okay, we're gonna walk around on these streets. And we ended up in kind of an unsafe neighborhood. It was crazy because it was only a couple blocks away from the Capitol building, but it got to a point where we just didn't feel really safe. So when it comes to traveling, make sure that you're planning your trips. I know that this time around when I went up to DC for Pride, I made sure that I stayed super far away from that side of town and I calculated my walking route to be right down the mall where there's tons of different people. I didn't want to be in a place where I wasn't visible to the public just because you never know who's hiding in alleys or what people are up to. So you just want to make sure that you're putting yourself in safe situations. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, make sure you follow me on all my other social medias. I've got Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Don't use Twitter so much, trying to get better at that. But I hope you guys have a great weekend and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.